Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Day 2 of Raisina Dialogue, India's conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics today. US Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard to deliver keynote address. US President Donald Trump set to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin over phone, says many elements of a peace agreement in Ukraine have been agreed. Peace in Gaza shattered as Israeli strikes killed more than 60, over 150 injured. Israel blames action on Hamas's refusal to release remaining hostages. US judge questions Trump administration in Venezuela deportation case. White House confident of winning court battle. Stranded NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams set to begin journey home after 9 months in the ISS. Undocking scheduled for 0505 GMT today. And in sports, Swiss Open tournament to begin from today. Indian shuttler PV Sindhu, Lakshya hope to regain top form. News in detail. Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 3-day Raisina Dialogue 2025 in New Delhi on Monday. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon joined the inaugural session as the chief guest and delivered the keynote address. India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics aims to address the most challenging issues facing the global community. DD India's Jessica Taneja has more.
In the inaugural session of this year's Raisina Dialogue, Prime Minister of New Zealand Christopher Luxon lauded India's progress over the past decade, underscoring its economic growth, poverty eradication and technological advancements.
India that have a significant role to play in the Indo-Pacific region. In an increasingly multipolar world, India's size and geostrategic heft gives you autonomy. For at a time when democracy is in decline with less than half the world's adults electing their leaders, it truly is an inspiration that 650 million Indians turned out to vote last year in the largest election in history. Your national election is a triumph of logistics, but it's also a triumph of legitimacy. We want to live in an Indo-Pacific where countries are free to choose their own path, free from interference. A region where no one country comes to dominate. And it is a sign of the times that I have to stand here defending respect for sovereignty, yet New Zealand's approach is increasingly shaped around that objective.
The annual conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics is bringing together over 3,500 participants from approximately 125 countries, including ministers, former heads of state, industry leaders, and experts from leading think tanks. Over the course of these 3 days, conversations will be held in various formats over 6 thematic pillars: politics interrupted, shifting sands, and rising tides, resolving the green trilemma: who, where, and how, digital planet, agents, agencies, and absences, militant mercantilism, trade, supply chains, and the exchange rate addiction, the tiger's tail, rewriting development with a new plan, and investing in peace, drivers, institutions, and leadership. As the world investigates unprecedented shifts in the global landscape of power and influence, the emergence of new actors is reconfiguring old relationships and creating new ones. The next few days' discussions will interrogate the powers and processes that are central to the evolving global geopolitics of our time. With Jessica Taneja, Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
And today, on day 2 of the Raisina Dialogue, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will speak on thrones and thorns, defending the integrity of nations. While the visiting US Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard will also deliver a keynote address. Stay tuned to DD India as we get you both the addresses live starting 9:10 IST. Earlier on day one, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met many of his counterparts on the sidelines of the Raisina Dialogue. He ended the day with holding a warm meeting with Bhutanese Foreign Minister D.N. Dhungyal. Both the leaders reaffirmed commitment to further unique and long-standing ties. Dr. Jaishankar also met Tulsi Gabbard. Two leaders held useful exchange on contemporary global and regional security challenges. India's External Affairs Minister also held a good meeting with his Ghana counterpart Sam Okedzeto Ablakwa. Two leaders explored opportunities to further development partnership and South-South cooperation. And Ganbold Dambazav is Mongolian ambassador to India, participating in the Raisina Dialogue as one of its participants. DD India's Akhilesh Suman talked exclusively with him on how Raisina would be helpful in extending the positive dialogue process amidst the ongoing conflicts.
Raisina Dialogue is being participated by many ambassadors, many statisticians, many academicians. And here with me is Gambo Dambazav, the ambassador of Mongolia to India. Ambassador,
good evening.
How do you feel about this Raisina Dialogue? How do you get it?
Yes, I believe and I trust that Raisina is a very important platform, gives us good opportunity to meet, discuss, to hear others, what they're thinking, listen to them and of course deliver our position. And I'm, as ambassador of Mongolia to India, participant. This is my fourth Raisina Dialogue. And we bring every year, we bring in our delegation, we bring in our minister states and this year our state secretaries are participating, and we feel that it gives us a good platform for us to deliver our voice to the world.
Okay, so how do you feel India's effort, how it will contribute in bringing peace to the ongoing conflicts in the world?
Oh yes, we believe that India is doing a very great job, and we hope that the future of the world will, in certain point, will depend on India. And its policy, on its the religion, its the philosophy, one world, one family, one future. So it gives us very good opportunity to hear how the India pursuing it. And personally, I believe that India will continue to play its crucial role for the bringing the world peace in all the region.
Okay, Ambassador, how India-Mongolia relations are going on?
Historically, our two countries have long 1,000 years history. As of today, we consider India as one of the most important third neighbor of Mongolia, and now we enjoy the strategic partnership. And this year, we are commemorating 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and India. So it is a very good historic year for us.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for talking to DD India and DD News. Thank you so much. Thank you.
India and New Zealand have decided to restart talks on a free trade agreement apart from enhancing ties in key areas ranging from defence to sports. Prime Ministers of the two nations held bilateral talks in Delhi on Monday, which not only led to exchange of six-packs in their presence, but also a pledge to cooperate in fields like development, climate change and counter-terrorism.
Touching down in New Delhi on Sunday, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon was warmly welcomed by India's Minister of State SP Singh Baghel. In his first visit to India as a Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon has brought one of the largest delegations ever to accompany a New Zealand leader. Ministers, business tycoons and diaspora members, all signalling big ambitions for this trip. On Monday, Prime Minister Luxon kicked off his official engagements with a high-stakes meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Hyderabad House. The two leaders engaged in talks on trade, defence and renewable energy with key focus on launching negotiations for a free trade agreement, a move that could skyrocket the economic ties between the two countries.
दोनों देशों के बीच एक परस्पर लाभकारी फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट पर नेगोशिएशंस शुरू करने का निर्णय लिया गया है। इससे आपसी व्यापार और निवेश के पोटेंशियल को बढ़ावा मिलेगा।
And so to give effect to the various areas of new cooperation, my government has also confirmed that we will need more people on the ground in India. And that is why New Zealand is looking to increase our diplomatic footprint in India by more than 60%, underscoring our commitment to the relationship and our ambition to see it grow even further.
PM Modi also spoke on the intent of the two leaders in enhancing cooperation to battle international terrorism.
आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हम दोनों एक मत है। चाहे 15 मार्च 2019 का क्राइस्ट चर्च आतंकी हमला हो या 26 नवंबर 2008 का मुंबई हमला, आतंकवाद किसी भी रूप में अस्वीकार्य है।
India and New Zealand also signed several memorandums of understanding to strengthen cooperation between India and New Zealand. These included a Memorandum of Understanding on Defence Cooperation Agreement, Memorandum of Cooperation on Sports, Memorandum of Understanding on Horticulture, Mutual Recognition Agreement on Customs between the two countries, Letter of Intent on Forestry, Agreement on Education Cooperation. Earlier this morning, Lakshya paid his respect at Rajghat, laying a wreath at Mahatma Gandhi's memorial, a nod to shared democratic values. Prime Minister Lakshya also attended India's premier geopolitical summit, the Raisina Dialogue, as the chief guest. This visit isn't just about geopolitics, it's also about business. With India as the world's fastest growing major economy, Lakshya's delegation is eyeing opportunities in dairy, agri-tech and education. From trade deals to strategic talks, Lakshya's visit marks a new chapter in India-New Zealand relations. One both sides hope will deliver mutual gains and cement the friendly ties between the two nations. The 4-day state visit by New Zealand Prime Minister to India is not only expected to bring the two countries closer together, but it is also expected to cement the trade, investment, people-to-people and defence ties between the two countries. With camera person Sanjeev Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And United Kingdom MP Lord Karan Bilimoria hailed the renewed India-UK free trade agreement negotiations. Speaking to DD India's Amritpal Singh, he hoped for early conclusion of the FTA.
With me, Lord Karan Bilimoria, who is a Member of Parliament of the United Kingdom, is here in New Delhi to participate in the Raisina Dialogue. Lord Bilimoria, many thanks for speaking to DD India. Where do you see the India-UK negotiations on FTA going?
India is only the 12th largest trading partner of the UK. It should be one of the top 3. So what I say is this: sign the FTA. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, I implore both Prime Ministers to sign the FTA. When that's signed, we will see a turbocharging of trade, business and investment between our countries. And I want to see that trade of $50 billion double to $100 billion.
But do you think that the political leadership, the present political leadership of both countries has put enough political weight behind the FTA?
Very much so. The business secretary from the UK was here shortly. Minister Piyush Goyal has been personally involved in negotiations. Both sides want to do it. The Foreign Secretary and Foreign Minister, we call a Foreign Secretary, your Foreign Minister, Dr. Jayashankar, when he was in England, said very clearly, it's soon that the FTA will be signed. So the intention is there on both sides to get it done. We just need to get it done.
All right. You mentioned Dr. Jayashankar was there in the United Kingdom. One concern that India has, during his visit, we saw, Khalistani separatists trying to launch an attack on that. We've seen that on the Indian High Commission there. The increasing radicalization and the space that the West gives to, characters like these is a matter of concern for India.
Let's look at the attack on the Indian High Commission that happened some time ago. Completely unacceptable. The whole of the UK was saying this is not right, this should never have happened, lessons have been learnt. Let's put it in the context of the nearly 2 million people of Indian origin like me who live and work in the UK. We are the largest ethnic minority population in the UK, but more importantly, we are the most successful in every field, whether you look at business, whether you look at politics, whether you look at every aspect of life. The Indian community is reaching the very top. And the vast, vast majority of Indians in the UK love India, proud of India.
Lord Bilimoria, many thanks for speaking to us. So clearly, the role of the Indian diaspora in, furthering the relations between the two countries, the United Kingdom and India, is central to this relationship. And as the Member of Parliament from the United Kingdom was saying, that these incidents are far and few between, but they do not mar the relationship that is strong. Amritpal Singh for DD India in New Delhi.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. EU conference pledges $6.3 billion for Syria's recovery. Pentagon threatens unrelenting strikes against Houthis. And Rwanda cuts ties with Belgium, citing interference. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. US President Donald Trump said to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin over phone and said many elements of a peace agreement in Ukraine have been agreed. Trump said he would speak to Russia's Putin on Tuesday morning about ending the Ukraine conflict with territorial concessions by Kiev and control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Trump has been trying to win Putin's support for a 30-day ceasefire proposal that Ukraine accepted last week, as both sides traded heavy aerial strikes early on Monday, and Russia moved closer to ejecting Ukrainian forces from their months-old foothold in the western Russian region of Kursk. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told a regular briefing on Monday that Trump and Putin would discuss a power plant on the border of Russia and Ukraine.
Power plant that is on the border of Russia and Ukraine that was up for discussion with the Ukrainians, and he will address it in his call with Putin tomorrow.
And all eyes are on the upcoming direct conversation over the phone between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. And this crucial dialogue could be a turning point in the ongoing conflict, with Trump expressing optimism about peace talks. As more.
The stage is all set for the highly anticipated direct conversation between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. This critical dialogue, which could be a pivotal moment, may give a decisive turn to the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Trump expressed optimism about the potential for peace talks and mentioned that significant work had been done over the weekend.
We have something to announce maybe by Tuesday. I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday, and a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance.
Kremlin also confirmed that President Putin would talk to US President Donald Trump by phone on Tuesday.
Yes, that is how it is. Such a conversation is planned for Tuesday.
Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine continue trading heavy aerial strikes through the weekend. Russia, however, moved closer to ejecting Ukrainian forces from the western Russian region of Kursk after reclaiming the town of Zudza. The Russian Defense Ministry released footage on Monday showing captured and destroyed military hardware, including grenade launchers and armored vehicles. Russian forces battled on Sunday to expel the last Ukrainian soldiers from western Russia after a 7-month incursion. The recapture of Zudza marks another gain in Russia's military operation to push Ukrainian forces out of Russian territory. Russia reported that its forces destroyed a tank, 2 armored personnel carriers, a combat vehicle, 5 trucks, 3 artillery pieces, and a drone control station. On the other hand, Ukrainian forces launched a drone attack on southern Astrakhan region overnight, sparking a blaze at an oil refinery, continuing its offensive against the Russian energy facilities. Meanwhile, EU foreign ministers met in Brussels on Monday to discuss the crisis after an informal exchange of views with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine via video conference.
Well, those conditions that they have presented, it shows that they don't really want peace, actually, because they are presenting as conditions all their ultimate goals that they want to achieve from the war.
As both Russia and Ukraine continue with their offensive against each other, all eyes are now focused on Tuesday talks between US President Trump and Russian President Putin. Will the hopes for a ceasefire in the region be a reality? Only time will tell. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
And DD India correspondent Anil Thomas has more information on this. He's joining us live from New Delhi. Good morning, Anil. US President Donald Trump and Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin are set to speak with each other today. Some headway expected, breakthrough?
Good morning, Abhishek. Well, very much so. This is the talk that the world would be looking at. Yeah. The world oil prices will be looking at. And, I think the world will be gearing to listen to what exactly, or, Putin making all the talking now with regards to agreeing to sign on the dotted line. Does he do that? Because that's going to be the big concern for the world. What are the conditions that he brings to the table that, Trump doesn't know? Because the world believes, or at least the world leaders, especially from UK, France, are very skeptical. They are hopeful that this ceasefire comes through, and the ceasefire comes through without any conditions. But that's for something, the devil lies in the details, as they say. We'll have to wait and watch what exactly are the details that come out once the papers are on the table. But as of now, this particular phone call between Putin and Trump is going to be something that the world is looking forward, especially a breakthrough that has been, touted for long, that is, there and is possible. But this time around, it almost looks like we are, I think, touching distance away from this particular ceasefire talks taking place and, a conclusion of it on the dotted line. And I think the world would be looking with anticipation on what Putin brings to the table and what Trump has to negotiate.
Anil, also, United States proposed a halt in fighting in the conflict after talks in Saudi Arabia, with Kiev accepting the proposal. Russia has conditions, underscoring its demand that Ukraine be excluded from the NATO membership. And that's not Vladimir Putin's only condition.
Well, Vladimir Putin will have many conditions on the table. I think even Trump will have many conditions that are hidden, especially when it comes to territorial capture that Russia has done. What happens to that? Will they be returned or will they be followed? And if that's followed, that's going to be the new world order, because anybody is going to capture anyone's territory and claim territorial rights over it. And we, at this point of time, know that's 20% of.
All right, we'll try to talk with Anil Thomas again. But yes, Putin and Donald Trump are set to speak over the phone today. We'll keep you updated on this. But Lebanese and Syrian defense officials have reached an agreement for a ceasefire to halt 2 days of clashes along the border. The Lebanese and Syrian defense ministries said in statements on Monday that 3 soldiers in Syria's new army and 7 Lebanese were killed in border clashes during the past 2 days. On the Lebanese side, 52 people were wounded, the health ministry said. The Lebanese and Syrian defense ministries also agreed on continuing contacts between the Army intelligence directorates to prevent more deterioration on the border. Meanwhile, Lebanon's Foreign Affairs Minister Youssef Raji met his Syrian counterpart Asad al-Shibani in Brussels to discuss the cross-border developments and agreed to maintain contacts. Late on Sunday, Syria's defense ministry accused Hezbollah of crossing into Syrian territory and kidnapping and killing the 3 members of Syria's new army. Hezbollah denied any involvement. The European Union led the way as donors on Monday pledged $5.8 billion euros in aid for Syria at a conference in Brussels. However, donation was down on the $7.5 billion promised overall at the conference last year. EU Commissioner for the Mediterranean Dubravka Suisa said that the money should be used for early recovery for the benefit of all Syrian citizens. The conference, 9th Brussels conference, standing with Syria, meeting the needs for a successful transition, aimed at mobilizing international support for an inclusive, peaceful transition and generate pledges for humanitarian and non-humanitarian assistance.
We just closed the Syrian pledging conference. This was 9th conference in a row. It was very successful. We pledged a lot of money. Better to say it is 5.8 billion euro, out of which there is 4.2 in grants and only 1.6 in loans. I think this is good for the recovery, for the early recovery of Syria. And I also hope that Syrian authorities, who were represented by their Minister of Foreign Affairs, can be satisfied, and this money could and should be used for their early recovery and for the benefit of all Syrian citizens.
And Pentagon said on Monday that there have been dozens of military casualties so far in Yemen. U.S. Defense Department spokesman Sean Parnell said the U.S. military will carry out unrelenting strikes against Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels until achieving its objective. Responding to the Houthi movement's threats to international shipping, the U.S. launched a new wave of airstrikes on Saturday.
The initial wave of strikes hit over 30 targets at multiple locations, degrading a variety of Houthi capabilities. These included terrorist training sites, unmanned aerial vehicle infrastructure, weapons manufacturing capabilities, and weapons storage facilities. It also included a number of command and control centers, including a terrorist compound where we know several senior Houthi unmanned aerial vehicle experts were located. On Sunday, strike operations continued against additional headquarters locations, weapons storage facilities, as well as detection capabilities that have been used to threaten maritime shipping in the past. Today, the operation continues, and it will continue in the coming days until we achieve the President's objectives.
And President Donald Trump declared on Monday that he will hold Iran directly responsible for any future attacks by Yemen's Tehran-backed Houthi rebels who have targeted U.S. and other foreign ships in the Red Sea. Donald Trump said that every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences. Israel's military said it conducted strikes on Hamas targets in the Palestinian enclave as explosions were heard over Gaza City in the early hours of Tuesday. Over 66 people were killed and 150 were wounded in the strikes. Israel stated that the recent strikes on Gaza are a response to Hamas's repeated refusal to release hostages as well as rejection of all ceasefire proposals. The military mentioned that the Home Command has ordered restrictions on civilian activity near the Gaza Strip following airstrikes. Schools will also be closed in areas near the Gaza Strip on Tuesday. A U.S. federal judge on Monday pressed the Trump administration to provide details about hundreds of Venezuelans it deported despite a court order barring it from doing so. It gave the government until Tuesday to explain why officials believe they had complied with his order. The American Civil Liberties Union attorney Lee Gallerant said that after a hearing before U.S. District Judge James Boasberg, the group remained convinced that the government had acted unlawfully.
We had serious concerns going into the day that the government violated a federal court order. Today did nothing to dispel it. If anything, it reinforced that our view that the government may very well have violated this order, perhaps even knowingly violated.
And President Donald Trump's administration deported more than 200 Venezuelans over the weekend to El Salvador. It said they were members of Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang that has been linked to kidnapping, extortion and contract killings. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has denounced treatment of Venezuelan deportees to El Salvador as fascist and announced Venezuela would take measures to denounce this massive violation of human rights.
They handcuffed them without telling them where they're going. And when they arrived in El Salvador, they got them off the hard way. They humiliate them by throwing them on the ground. They shaved them. Do you call this justice? Do you call this international law? Do you call this human rights? How do you call this? This is called fascism, Nazism, and Venezuela is ready to denounce this massive violation of human rights against honorable migrant workers in the United States.
Moving on, the Rwandan government announced its decision to sever diplomatic relations with Belgium on Monday and gave Belgian diplomats 48 hours to leave the country. Brussels has been leading calls for European nations to sanction Rwanda over its support for the M23 rebel group at the center of DR Congo's crisis. The authorities in Kigali, Rwanda's capital, have given Belgian diplomats 48 hours to leave the country. Belgium has said it will respond to these measures and labelled Rwanda's decision disproportionate. Belgium's Foreign Affairs Minister Maxime Prévost indicated that Belgium would reciprocate by declaring Rwandan diplomats persona non grata, effectively expelling them from Belgian territory. The European Union also sanctioned 9 people and a gold refinery in connection with the Rwanda-backed rebellion in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a day before peace talks scheduled in Angola between M23 rebels and the Congolese government. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Trump administration to release all remaining John F. Kennedy files on Tuesday. Keir Starmer and new Canadian PM meet at the Downing Street. And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman launches app for PM internship scheme.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. A pair of US astronauts stuck for more than 9 months on the International Space Station will be returned to Earth on Tuesday evening. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are set to be transported home with another American astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon craft, which arrived at the ISS early Sunday. They are poised to undock from the ISS at 0505 GMT on Tuesday to begin a 17-hour trip back to Earth. The stranded duo have been on the ISS since June after the Boeing Starliner spacecraft they were testing on its maiden crewed voyage suffered propulsion issues and was deemed unfit to fly them back to Earth. NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov will also return on the Dragon capsule, with the journey to be broadcast live from Monday evening when hatch closure preparations begin. And NASA has released a video of Crew 9's time on the space station in past 9 months. It said that they have helped with International Space Station research studies to design better reactors, build wooden satellites, and prepare for missions to the Moon and Mars. The works carried out by them includes transplanting and growing microalgae, improving astronaut exercise, garden watering, fueling the flames, monitoring and making microbes in space, besides taking millions of images of Earth from the space station for Crew Earth observations, creating one of the longest running records of how our planet changes over time.
And understanding those nuances helps us understand more about ourselves as well as the universe and how we interact with it. So we look at medicines, we look at materials and making new materials, we look at how we behave so that we know how medicines might interact with us or how to counteract diseases. You name it, we're doing research on it up here.
We've had opportunities to do all sorts of science, spacewalks. It's varied and pretty awesome, actually, opportunity to do something different every single day.
you can see Butch Wilmore with the different canisters to collect those microorganism swabs.
A great view from the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Nick Hague. You can see floating off just past that left hand of his. Those are the wedge-shaped NICER patches that he'll be inserting into the NICER experiment, the X-ray telescope.
Anytime you look out the window, it's pretty amazing. The Aurora Borealis, the Aurora Australis, just to see the variety of the Earth from above, it's just thrilling.
These are called astrobees. So they actually can come off the wall and fly around. Huge opportunities for people to test out guidance navigation control on a quote-unquote spacecraft in microgravity inside here. So we have companies, universities, students all flying these astrobees around at different times. Some of them are actually even grabbing onto other pieces that we might have floating around, and that might help us clean up space debris. We have a tray right here that does some combustion experiments. Right on the other side of Butch is a glove box where we've done some stem cell research as well as DNA sequencing. And there's an airlock where it can take payloads out of the space station, and those could be Earth observation satellites, they could be launchers of other microsatellites, they could be doing all sorts of amazing stuff.
The mission of the space station, the scientific exploration, is something that we deeply believe in, and its ability to make a positive impact for all of humanity.
Shifting focus now, during his first visit to the Kennedy Center in Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump emphasized that his role as chairman after appointing himself and making changes to the leadership, he spoke from the presidential opera box and led a board meeting, underscoring his vision for the future of the institution. Trump highlighted his concerns about the Kennedy Center, mentioning that it was in tremendous disrepair and needed improvements. He drew parallels between his actions at the center and his broader efforts to address issues in other areas of American life, including debates around borders and gender in sports. During his tour of the center, Trump took the opportunity to discuss past decisions and the changes he believes are necessary to improve the space. During his first trip to the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that his administration would release all remaining Kennedy files on Tuesday. Trump revealed that he had instructed his team, including several individuals assembled by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, to release the documents. He mentioned that there was a large amount of material to go through and emphasized that no redactions were anticipated.
We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this, and I've instructed my people that are responsible, lots of different people, put together by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's going to be released tomorrow. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact. But we're going to be releasing the JFK files.
And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with visiting Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney on Monday as both leaders looked forward to strengthening ties. The leaders agreed that the UK-Canadian partnership is based on shared history and values, membership of the Commonwealth and a shared king, and the both looked forward to strengthening ties. During the meeting, they also discussed a virtual meeting on Saturday chaired by Starmer to support Ukraine. Earlier, Carney met with Britain's King Charles III at Buckingham Palace. Britain is Carney's second leg of his visit overseas trip after France in a bid to deepen relations with Canada's European allies amid US disputes. He was sworn in as Canadian Prime Minister on Friday. Now, 7 people, including 2 minors, were killed and 6 others wounded in an armed attack outside a brewery in Guanajuato's Salamanca in Mexico. Eyewitnesses report that armed assailants opened fire from a moving vehicle targeting a group of young people who had gathered outside the establishment. Salamanca residents expressed grief over the incident and called for increased government intervention to prevent such tragedies. Regional media stated that residents claimed the victims were not connected to criminal groups. Authorities have launched an investigation, but no arrests have been made. Peru on Monday declared a month-long state of emergency in the capital Lima to allow for the deployment of soldiers to help police crack down after a wave of killings linked to extortion. The move came after singer Paul Flores was shot dead on Sunday by hitmen who attacked a bus he was riding with bandmates as they left a concert outside Lima. The musicians had been threatened by a criminal gang who attempted to extort money from them. Under the state of emergency in effect for Lima and its port of Callao, the government can suspend civil liberties such as the right to assemble, and house searches can be carried out. President Dina Boluarte declared after Flores' killing will not allow one more death. She added she was seriously considering reinstating the death penalty for hitmen and extortionists. Now, the European Southern Observatory warned that the proposed INNA industrial project, a massive electrical production complex, could devastate astronomical observations at the Parallel Observatory in Chile. The analysis revealed that light pollution from the project could increase by at least 35% and air turbulence from wind turbines could degrade viewing conditions by up to 40%. The observatory also emphasized the importance of Chile's clear skies for groundbreaking astronomical research. Now, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman launched a dedicated mobile application for the Prime Minister's internship scheme. The app helps applicants get paid internship for the next 12 months. This digital initiative, through a mobile app, while making it accessible in all regional languages, ensures that young talent can now have greater opportunity to be part of the nation's workforce. DD India's Anil Thomas has the details.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman launched a dedicated mobile app for the Prime Minister's internship scheme. The app allows easy registration through Aadhaar face authentication and effortless navigation through a personalized dashboard. The app helps applicants get real-time alerts about internship opportunities.
So today with this mobile app, I think we've opened even more or made it even more accessible for interns, potential interns to come in. Everyone who's in this room and everyone who's otherwise joining us should take a little bit of initiative in this scheme and also bring in more people for the interns, because the country needs their efforts, their service, and similarly industry needs better qualified individuals.
The app seeks to address the challenge of limited computer access by leveraging the widespread use of mobile phones, which offer a user-friendlier alternative for many applicants. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs have taken efforts to make it accessible in all Indian languages. Along with the Prime Minister's internship scheme app launch, a facilitation center dedicated to PMIS will also be established in Kolkata.
उनको इंटर्नशिप में स्टाइपेंड भी मिल रहा है, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी उनको उन कंपनीज में मिल सकती हैं. जो बच्चा एक्सेल करता है, जो ठीक से काम करता है, ठीक से सीखता है, तो वहां की मैनेजमेंट उसको एब्जॉर्ब भी कर सकती है. और पर्टिकुलरली जो आज ऐप का लॉन्च आदरणीय मंत्री जी ने किया है, इसके बाद ये और इजी हो जाता है.
The Prime Minister's internship scheme, announced in the budget of 24-25, aims to provide 10 million youths with internship opportunities in the top 500 companies in the coming 5 years.
This mobile app reaffirms the government's commitment to skill development and opens a world of opportunity for the youth who are looking for internships. So, download this Prime Minister mobile internship app and explore the world of opportunities. With camera person Vicky, Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Delhi Chief Election Commissioner Gyanish Kumar to hold a detailed discussion with secretaries from the Union Home Ministry and the Legislative Department. The discussion will focus on linking Aadhaar card with voter ID cards. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta engaged with chartered accountants to gather expert insights for the Delhi Budget 2025-26, aiming to make it transparent, balanced and beneficial for all citizens. In a post on X, Rekha Gupta stated, important discussions were held with chartered accountants regarding the developed Delhi Budget 25-26. Our goal is to ensure a strong economy, inclusive growth and more opportunities. Admiral Samuel J. Paparo, commander of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, called on General Anil Chauhan, India's Chief of Defence Staff. Discussions held on strengthening military-to-military cooperation and opportunities to foster collaboration in Indo-Pacific. Both leaders reaffirmed commitment to addressing emerging security challenges and deepening strategic ties. In a heartwarming gesture of community service during the holy month of Ramadan, volunteers from NGO in Srinagar came together to prepare and distribute iftar meals among the people. The team, consisting mostly of young volunteers, worked diligently to prepare fresh and wholesome iftar meals, which were then distributed to individuals and families in various parts of the city. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Ecuador residents alarmed by oil spill in Viche River, fearing health and crop damage. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Residents of the Ecuador expressed concerns after oil spill in a river, afraid that the havoc will affect their health and crops. The spill caused by a damaged pipeline has heavily polluted the Viche River in the northwestern province of Esmeraldas. A local clinic has received at least 25 people with allergy symptoms. Farmers are also worried the fumes coming out of the river will affect their crops and animals. Pumping has been halted on the pipeline after it sustained damage from a landslide caused by heavy rain. The company deployed crews to clean the spill in Viche. US President Donald Trump tapped Brian Bedford, chief executive of Republic Airways, to lead the Federal Aviation Administration on Monday, which manages the US Air Traffic Organization and is overseeing Boeing's safety operations following a series of high-profile problems. The appointment requires Senate confirmation. Trump stated Bedford, with over 30 years of aviation experience, will work on reforming the agency, improving air traffic control systems and ensuring passenger safety. Wall Street stocks ended higher and gold held near $3,000 per ounce on Monday after mixed economic data. Over the weekend, US strikes against Yemen's Houthi movement threatened to escalate tensions in the oil-rich Middle East, driving crude prices higher on supply fears. Weaker than expected, US retail sales data was at least partially attributable to cheaper gasoline, a solid rebound in online receipts, and an upside surprise in the core measure showed underlying consumer strength. The yield on benchmark US 10-year notes fell 1 basis point to 4.299% from 4.308% late on Friday. The 30-year bond yield fell 2.3 basis points to 4.5919% on Friday. Gold gained ground, hovering around $3,000 level it breached for the first time last week as investors focused on this week's rate decision from the Federal Reserve. All right, sports updates now. Special Olympics, Bharat organized a felicitation ceremony in Delhi to honor the Indian contingent that showcased remarkable success at the Special Olympics World Winter Games held in Italy. Notably, the Sports Ministry has increased the prize money for medal winners this time. Here's more.
The Indian contingent created history and left a strong mark at the Special Olympics World Winter Games held in Turin, Italy. The 49-member Indian team participated in the event, secured an impressive tally of 33 medals, including 8 gold, 18 silver and 7 bronze. Special Olympics Bharat not only recognized the athletes' incredible talent, but also discussed various measures to ensure their continued excellence in the future. The event was graced by Minister of State for Sports Lakshya, who described the athletes' achievements as extraordinary.
हर राज्य से यहाँ पे बच्चे आए हुए उनके लिए एक प्लेटफॉर्म उपलब्ध करवा देना ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। हर स्टेट से बच्चे आ रहे हैं, अलग अलग कंट्री में उन्हें जाने का मौका मिल रहा है, उनको परफॉर्म करने का मौका मिल रहा है और अपने लाइफ में भी आगे बढ़ने का मौका इस स्पोर्ट्स इवेंट के माध्यम से उन्हें मिल रहा है। ये हम सभी के लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है।
Meanwhile, Special Olympics Bharat chairperson Dr. Malika Nadda stated that the athletes have once again proven that with dedication and determination, there are no limits to what they can achieve.
ये वर्ल्ड चैंपियंस हम सबके लिए पथ प्रदर्शक है क्योंकि ये दिव्यांगजन है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद इन्होंने 102 देशों के बीच में अपना अस्तित्व स्थापित किया है और मेडल्स लेके ये जिस तरह से हमारे देश में वापस पहुंचे हैं, हम सबके लिए गौरव का विषय है।
The medals won by these athletes at the Special Olympics World Winter Games stand as a testament to their relentless hard work and the unwavering support of their families. The primary goal of the Special Olympics World Winter Games is to promote inclusivity in the sports world, ensuring that everyone gets an equal opportunity to shine. These athletes continue to push boundaries and embody the true spirit of this mission. Sports Desk, DD, India.
And two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will spearhead India's challenge at the Swiss Open 2025 badminton tournament commencing Tuesday. Sindhu will face fellow Indian Malvika Bansod in the opening round. Rakshita Ramraj and Anupama Upadhyay are the other Indian contenders in the women's singles category. In men's singles draw, Lakshya Sen will lead the Indian contingent, which includes H.S. Pranoy, Kiran George and Priyanshu Rajawat. India has no representation in men's doubles category. However, in women's doubles, world number 9 pair Teresa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand will lead the charge. Cricket now. Delhi Capital's decision to pick Tristan Stubbs in the 2024 IPL auction turned out to be a masterstroke. The South African power hitter slotted in perfectly as their go-to finisher, smashing 378 runs at a staggering strike rate of 190.9 for DC last season. Stubbs praised Akshar Patel's captaincy, applauding the calm and composed leadership he brings to the table. Stubbs shared his thoughts in an exclusive chat with DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya.
One of the key players for Delhi Capitals is their foreign export, Tristan Stubbs from South Africa. Tristan, you've been the main team player for Capitals. Been last year also. We saw your exploit. In fact, right now in international cricket, a lot of people are talking you one of the best finisher in international cricket. How do you say that, and how do you see your team's chances this year in this particular edition?
Yeah, I think we got a really good chance this season. We got a really good squad, a lot of new guys, a good core of old guys. So hopefully we can get on a run and put a really good few performances together.
And what people have to talk about your exploit. You, as I said, people are calling you one of the best finisher of international cricket currently.
Yeah, I try not to listen to those things. Try and keep the game as simple as you can and take it game by game.
See the ball, hit the ball.
Exactly.
Just wanted to ask you, a lot of South African players come here, but they struggle against spin. You haven't had any such problem. Is there anything that you guys talked about your, because Akshar Patel will be here, he's the captain this time. Do you guys talk to the spinners how to, take on the spinners in the matches?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it. Baniya can be tough, but yeah, we got some really good spinners, Akshar, Kuldeep, and just trying to face them. I had Akshar bowl to me quite a bit last year. He is one of the best in the world, so if you can manage against him, hopefully you can cope against the other guys.
That's something we, in the last few years we saw actually that Delhi Capitals struggle when it comes to pushing the run rate in the fag end of the innings. Do you believe that in the last season and this season that probably will be taken care with you, KL Rahul, all good hitters coming into the squad?
Yeah, you hope so.
Especially you making it to the.
Yeah, you hope so. Obviously the game's gonna up and flow. So hopefully we can get on a roll that we in really good positions and can capitalize at the death, because there's a lot of runs out here on some of the smaller grounds. So hopefully we can do that.
Hopefully get a good start and keep the momentum going. That's the twist and stub for you for Delhi Capitals mantra. With campus and this is Tapush Bhattacharya for GD India from Delhi.
And the Bangladesh cricket team is set to tour Pakistan for a white ball series in May, which will include 3 T20Is and 3 ODIs. The series will be held after the conclusion of the 10th edition of the Pakistan Super League, scheduled to take place from April 11 to May 18. Originally, the series was part of the Future Tours program but had to be postponed due to the busy schedules of both the teams. Bangladesh had previously toured Pakistan last year for a 2-match test series, which they won comprehensively 2-0. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.